Hello everyone. At least half of you have traveled outside of the city you lived in for a vacation. Whether it's a different city in California, another state, or a different country. A lot of people have traveled to different places, but I have not. Up until December, I have not traveled outside of my city for a vacation. Today I will tell you about the time me and my mom went to her hometown in Mexico for the first time in over 20 years. Firstly, I would tell you some context about my mom and why she's important. Next, I would talk about the most memorable times during that trip. And lastly, I would talk about how my view on my mom changed during that trip. Here's some background context about my mom. Both her and my dad are from the same town in Mexico, Nueva Italia. In their early 20s, they both moved to the US for a better life. In their 30s, they were able to visit their families again in Mexico, but haven't since because of some stuff. This December, me and my mom were able to travel to her hometown to spend 2 weeks over there and get to meet both sides of my family. While the trip was amazing, the days I remember most were the first day we landed and our first full day in Mexico. When we first landed, our uncle drove us to the town because it was so late. We first traveled to visit my mom's old childhood home, where we greeted my other uncle who lives there and walked around the house. Then we went to go visit my mom's sister and greeted her and some other relatives who were there. The next day, we did a lot of things around the town. Firstly, we went to go visit her sister again, and we all went to go visit my grandma's grave and my mom's childhood house again in the daylight. Then in the evening, we went to go visit my dad's side of the family and spent the rest of the evening walking around town with them. During this trip, I saw a different part of my mom. I saw how much this trip really meant to her. When she first moved to the US, she had to give up a lot of things to be in the US, having to give up a lot of moments that she would never be able to experience. Before this trip, she believed that she would never be able to visit this side of her family again. She was also able to show me her and my dad's old life in Mexico that she wasn't able to show me before. She would tell me stories about her childhood and my dad's childhood when I was younger, but it makes a real big difference to actually see it. I got to see how she grew up in Mexico and how her life was different from the current life she has in the United States. During this trip, I saw a different part of my mom that I was never able to see. I have told you about my experience of going to Mexico and seeing my mom in a new light. During this trip, she wasn't just my mom. She was someone who was revisiting her childhood after she truly believed she would never be able to do so. She never thought she would be able to see her old sisters, brothers, or her old house again. She thought she would never be able to see her hometown. But she has. Next time when one of your parents tells you a story of their childhood, take a moment to really listen to them. Their childhood was very important to them, and it means a lot to them now to be sharing it with you, because they see you as important too.